Hey everyone, I'm excited to introduce Pavan Patidar, Senior Manager Paid Social at Lead at SEM. He's going to be presenting on old dogs and new tricks, strategies for the new social media tools. Pavan Patidar is Senior Manager Paid Social at Lead SEM and offers one of the sharpest pedigrees in the industry. He runs both brand and direct response advertising on Facebook since 2011. That's a long time. In his career, he's overseen strategy and management of billions of dollars in ad spend on Facebook. He also, before joining Elite SEM, Pavan was senior digital manager, media manager at Facebook in Menlo Park, where he led digital strategy for Facebook's own app growth, brand awareness, and engagement efforts, including Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In campaign.
Cool. Thank you for the intro. All right. So I'm going to focus today on what you can do outside of your Facebook efforts, and this is a perfect follow-up session after Emily because she really framed my problem for me. So we don't have to get into that too much. So bullet on that is Facebook's more and more expensive, tons of new advertisers there, one of the biggest display ad revenues out there. And so we all are feeling the pain points. We're all trying to find strategies to get around that. And I love that Emily honed in on a lot of what you can do on Facebook. I couldn't agree more on a lot of that. We're actually going to touch on some of the points. But I'm here to focus a little bit more on what else is out there, what other social platforms specifically are out there, and what do they have that you guys can be leveraging right now. And again, a little bit of background on me again, I guess why you should listen to me. Been doing this for a while. Started at Nanigans, a SaaS platform out of Boston. Had the chance to run digital brand strategy at Facebook and got to learn the top of the funnel, which was fantastic. And then eventually moved on to Orion CKB, which was acquired by Elite SEM in November. And that's where I'm currently at. Have worked on advertisers across tons of different verticals, tons of different sizes with lots of different pain points. So I've seen a little bit of a lot. All right, so again, the agenda for today, we're going to hit 2 points. First is what I'm going to spend a lot of time on. That's what other platforms are out there and what can you do, what tech's interesting and why. And then secondarily, removing the burden of a single impression and moving more towards a funnel-based approach, which, if you remember from the previous session, was also mentioned. All right, so I'm going to touch on Facebook and Instagram, and I want to start with some demographics, and I'm going to periodically throw some demographics in where I find it interesting. So first thing here is I feel like we've heard the narrative on Facebook, younger demos are shifting away, Facebook's becoming an older platform, but I mean, think about where they're shifting towards. A lot of them are moving to Instagram. And while Facebook's primarily focused in a lot of their users on that 35 plus area, a lot of that under 35 are moving to Instagram. So I think between the two platforms, you actually do have a high concentration of all the demographics. And you have a high percentage of overall internet users. So you can hit a lot of people and a lot of unique users on Facebook and Instagram together. And Facebook and Instagram are constantly developing new tech, and there's still lots you can do out there. So one of the first things I think that's really interesting to hit on is moving beyond the feed. I mean, we all know the power of Facebook feed. We all know the power of it. But that's where a lot of the CPM increases are coming from. That's where the costs are really coming up from. So I think some of the areas where you can find cheaper inventory is utilizing some of the other placements. And some of the two I want to call out here specifically are Instagram Stories and Messenger. Both are still very underutilized, and with that, you do have lower CPMs. And with Instagram Stories specifically, we're seeing a major shift for a lot of users where they're going into that, and we have high usage, low competition, which is a great opportunity for everyone. And I think there's a big mindset shift on Instagram Stories in terms of content. For a feed, a lot of us are thinking high quality content. We got to get an agency in there. We have to build a best-in-class creative team to build that content. But think about what type of content you're seeing in your own stories, right? It's not beautiful production value. It's people taking out their phone, putting out real content, very ephemeral, very raw, and very real. And I find that the advertisers that do the best Instagram stories are mirroring that sort of content. So if you have the ability to, I highly recommend developing more user-generated content. And I'm telling you, I've had advertisers literally shoot videos on phones of their employees outside of offices, and I've seen it work amazingly. So rethink your creative strategy on Instagram Stories if it's not working for you. Get a little edgy, play around with it. Emily hit it earlier too. Test, 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 and eventually you'll find the winner. And it can be in a way you did not think of originally. Instagram Stories also is developing new tech too. You have the carousel cards, which allows you to put together multiple videos or images back to back. And again, it's an ability to create a narrative. It's an ability to create different sort of creative assets there, and so I highly recommend playing with that in a low competition area. Facebook, Instagram, very focused on video. There are mobile optimized video creation tools in beta right now. You have automated rules across the landscape, which is one of those things that I think gets glazed over a lot. Automated rules is an excellent way for you to build guardrails on your campaigns to protect yourselves from inefficient spend, overspend, high CPAs. It's one of those open canvases that can be very scary because you can do a lot with it. But if you have people in your org that have that kind of hacker mentality, they're willing to test and play, that's one of those places where you can do a lot of really interesting things to build, again, guardrails on your campaigns and also opportunities to make your spend even more efficient. Now, announced, I think 2 weeks ago or so, was also Facebook's influencer marketplace. I believe it's called the Branded Content Marketplace now, is their official title on that? That's what it is. Thank you, sir. Brand Collabs Manager. I was a string of buzzwords. I just had to nail which ones, right? Again, an excellent place for marketers to connect with influencers that are developing content. You can search based on the audience you're trying to hit, so you can really align on finding the right people for your audience. And I'm seeing a ton of success across the board with influencer content. And it doesn't necessarily have to be from the influencer's page and them pushing it out. We've seen by taking that content and posting it from our own brand's pages, we're also finding success there. And I think that the narrative right there, and again on the user-generated content, is rethink your content strategy if it's not working for you right now. Again, you don't have to be super professional. You don't have to be super clean there. Allow yourselves to be a little raw, a little unedited, and I think you'll find that users will really react and engage with that content. All right, so next one up is Snapchat. This is one of my favorite areas with challenging demographics. I think a lot of people think of Snapchat as the 12 to 17-year-old social media platform. And I don't necessarily disagree, and the numbers don't necessarily disagree with you either. But you do have a lot of users in the 18 to 24, the 25 to 34 demographic, and one of the big rising demos here is also the 35 to 44. So again, people are moving here. There's opportunities outside of those lower quality demographics. And in 2018, Snapchat has been making a ton of inroads in their ad platform. And they're obviously playing a lot of catch up here, but they're really pushing parity to, honestly, Facebook. And if you haven't checked out their ad platform, it's looking very similar. So let's talk about some things that they have. First things first, similar to Instagram stories, you have a low competition platform with low CPMs. And with those low CPMs, Snapchat does not have to convert as well as Facebook. I mean, Facebook's been in the game for a very long time. They know a lot about the audience. They're best in class with ad tech. And so they're going to convert the best. However, with Snapchat being so cheap, you don't have to convert as well because the inventory is so much cheaper. But that being said, Snapchat is investing in abilities to make your conversion rate stronger and to make your quality of traffic better. And a lot of these changes just coming out. First and foremost is bidding towards conversion events as opposed to just bidding towards something like a link click or in Snapchat world, a swipe up, or something like a reach. Also, they have the Snapchat pixel, so you can actually measure your campaigns, see how it's performing. You have CPA metrics, you have return on ad spend metrics. So again, you can see how you're performing. They have the ability to ingest CRM lists and create lookalike audiences, which is essentially the bread and butter of Facebook. And they're pushing on reach and frequency as well for people that are looking to do a little more brand work, but specifically with the Snapchat flair on it, so that's the augmented reality piece. Another big area of Snapchat is the focus on local. So right now they have a bunch of new location targeting available where you can target users based on different categories of locations. So say, for example, one of the categories I'm a big fan of using is malls and shopping centers. And that's not an audience that you're going to get delivery all throughout the week because it's actually live targeting. So we find that Monday through Thursday we get almost no delivery, but then as soon as Friday hits and on the weekend we get a ton of delivery in that targeting. And what I love about this is you know exactly where the user is and you can serve up really relevant content there. You can push on in-store experiences, you can push users into stores, and I think there's a lot of opportunity there with that targeting specifically. Now, and also like Facebook, you have the ability to edit your placements, and you don't have to just run everywhere. You can run in the story section, which is a new section entirely. I got a screenshot there on the right, which is a little bit more of a narrative play there. You have a static card. You click into that experience, and then after that, you can have a few different cards as well after that, videos and images. So again, the ability to build a narrative, and that displays in that story feed on the right-hand side of Snapchat. You have the ability to put yourself up against user stories only or publisher stories only. You can even exclude different types of publisher stories. So for example, if you didn't want to be up against any beauty brands or up against any sports content, you can exclude those placements as well. And if you're hearing it right, it should flag that a lot of this terminology is similar to Facebook. And a lot of this tech is similar to what you're used to seeing on Facebook. And I think in 2018, we've seen a lot of growth and a lot of maturity coming out of Snapchat's ad platform and out of almost anything. I'm really excited to see where they continue going with this. And I think the last thing to note here is their audience insights ability, which we've really lost on Facebook, and the ability to hit a lot of those third-party data sets. It's still available here. And it's still here, and if you're used to using it and you like it and you know it works, you can find those here on Snapchat. So next up is Twitter. Now, not the greatest story from a growth standpoint. And it's not expected to grow much in the next few years. But Twitter does have some really unique features. And I think two of my favorite ones are around event targeting, where Twitter's getting a lot of the buzz for these local events, and you can hone in on that. And on actually trending topic targeting, which gets cheaper as more people get into it. So you can really ride the wave on popular topics or popular trends that are popping up. And I mean, although they haven't had much of new technology that has been out, Twitter's been out for a while, so they do have a lot of what you'd expect and want to see on a social platform. Carousel ad units, video ad units that's playing on the right-hand side there. Lift studies, the ability to upload CRM lists, the ability to do dynamic retargeting. And again, Twitter's another platform that has very few people utilizing it. The CPMs are cheaper that you're going to find on Facebook, and therefore it's another great opportunity. And I think the most important thing to think about with Twitter is Twitter's kind of going through a bit of a shift right now. As opposed to being a social media company, they're really trying to rebrand themselves as a news hub. They actually just changed their App Store heading from social media to news to really own that. They're really focusing on more content partnerships, premium content, premium video work. And I think with that, the ability to run against that premium content with their in-stream video ads and on live video ads as well. Really slick, really great opportunity for advertisers. Next platform is Pinterest. Now with Pinterest, 25% of internet users. Interestingly enough, Pinterest has a larger reach than Twitter. And the demographic breakdown, very similar to Facebook. So if you're looking for kind of that parity in terms of users on the platform, you can find them here on Pinterest. But I think one of the biggest differences on Pinterest versus some of the other platforms is what people are looking to do on the platform. I think of Pinterest really as an awareness platform where you're getting people in the exploration phase, right? They're searching for fashion, they're searching for wedding venues and topics, recipes, and you can hone in on people that are in that awareness and exploration phase and serve up content against that. And again, they're investing in video. They have these full screen experiences, autoplay. They have some new ad units coming out, the ability to leverage feeds and having shopping ads, the ability to do search ads. So again, I think there is a lot of opportunity here on Pinterest. They have a lot of what you'd expect already. Again, CRM list, dynamic retargeting, video ads, carousel ads, stuff like that. So Pinterest, another platform worth exploring and worth looking into. Now, before I move on to the next section, just to kind of close the loop there, I feel like one of the things you heard and one of the topics that kind of translate throughout is that a lot of these other platforms are less competitive and they do have lower CPMs. So I think as you're looking at your offering and what you're going to do with your digital media spend, you should definitely be considering utilizing some of these other low competition areas to do some of the work for you. And again, it doesn't have to be the converting platform. It can be the platform where you build awareness. It can be the platform where you spark interest. And then you can build dynamic lists and have you finish the job on a maybe more sophisticated platform from a conversion standpoint like Facebook. So that brings us into the next section, which is the multi-touch narrative approach. And this is kind of something that Emily was also talking about, where I think more and more we need to see more advertisers moving away from a single impression, direct response oriented campaigns to funnel oriented campaigns and funnel based campaigns where you're working on long-term brand equity. This was actually something Joanne from Forrester hit in her section too, where to expect one impression to tell the brand story, to deliver all the value props, and then ultimately get the conversion is a lot to ask for it. And when you're really just showing one product and say, buy this individual product, what's to stop the user from then finding another product that's similar and cheaper and just buying that? Or jumping to the next product and the next interesting thing. I think with awareness and funnel-based campaigns, you build that brand story and you get people to buy into your brand and your narrative, and you create long-term customers as opposed to customers that are just going to come in, buy one thing, and then eventually churn. And again, with all these platforms, there's really interesting ways you can do this. At the top of the funnel, you can run lower cost, high reach, lower cost optimization events similar to like your link clicks, your video views, which aren't going to be as expensive as OCPM. And I do believe in OCPM, and it is the way to get conversions. But at the top of the funnel, you're looking for the ability to get as much cheap inventory as possible, cast the wide net, and then from there, you can utilize things like video viewer audiences to retarget. You can do link clicker audiences based on your UTM params. So if you're creating different videos and different content at the top of the funnel, by leveraging your UTM parameters, you can create different custom audiences off that to really create these multi-touch, narrative-based campaigns. And it's going to look different for every advertiser. There's really no one way to do this. It really depends on your flow. But I love doing things at the top of the funnel, running video campaigns, at the middle of the funnel, pushing influencer content, pushing blogs and articles, again to kind of hit the narrative again, push on consideration, and then ultimately at the bottom of the funnel, going for the conversion. And these can all run concurrently. You can always have your 1% lookalikes running and have your DR campaigns running, and at the same time, you can run those awareness campaigns. And what's great is all these platforms now offer lift studies, so you can see what incrementality you're getting from all this awareness ad dollars across the board. All right, so central themes here. Going towards multiple platforms to avoid having to spend all of your ad dollars on the most expensive platform like Facebook and utilizing some of the cheaper inventory on the other platforms. Video continues to be king. Video is being invested on in every platform out there, and if you're not building video, you should really be considering it. But it doesn't have to be the slickest, highest quality video. It can be a little bit more raw and unedited. And also, one of those things I feel silly saying out loud again and again, please make sure it's focused on mobile and it's a slick mobile experience. Multiple platforms are all getting these lift studies, so as you're testing new platforms, always start with the lift study to understand the incremental effect of these different platforms so that you know you're investing your ad dollars correctly. And then lastly, move to a funnel-based approach to warm leads at the top, build long-term brand equity, and create customers for life as opposed to customers that are going to shop once and bounce. Now, one last bonus slide that I do want to shout out is outside of all the platforms we've talked about, there are a lot of really interesting third parties that are developing non-native technology. And so two things that are kind of in my radar and that I'm thinking a lot about is first and foremost connected TV. As we are seeing tons of people shifting towards connected TV, and there's that huge narrative there, I'm really excited about that as a digital advertiser because I see this as another way to create awareness where people are consuming content and then building dynamic retargeting release off this that we can then hit on these other digital platforms. I will shout out one of our partners that has some great tech around this, Steelhouse. Look them up if you're interested in getting involved in that. Next one up that I'm really interested in right now is weather-related targeting. Taking in weather-based signals to put into your campaigns and change your delivery based on the weather. There are lots of brands this can be interesting for. Say you're an apparel-based brand, knowing that it's a warm, sunny day out there. If I'm Nike, I can push my running app and encouraging users to get out there and run. But say it's a cold, gross day out, similar to today, I can push, maybe it's like their training app and indoor training opportunities and, 7-minute workout in your own room kind of content. So thinking about how weather plays into the content you'd be serving and being able to dynamically ingest all that weather information and serve ads accordingly. Cool. All right, so that is it. Old dog, new tricks. If you'd like to continue discussing, I love geeking out on this. Talk about you, your brand, your problem specifically, but we can continue the conversation.